Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for joining us. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button on the way in. We are in the lab. Welcome to the lab, ladies and gentlemen. Tell everyone to get your pen and your pads and take notes because we got a special guest who's behind the scenes. Some of you may already know who she is, others of you may not, but we will be having a wonderful, in-depth conversation and you get to learn more about her. All right. But first and foremost, I need you to hit that like button. You are in the lab where people highlight their business, their products, or their positive messages. Again, we're in the lab where people highlight their business, products, positive messages. So if you ever wanted to be in the lab, please let me know. Inbox me, text me, get a hold of me. We have a few slots still open before the actual revamping of the show, which is taking place relatively soon. So if you want to get in there, make sure you let your bid be known and we will make that thing happen. We are going live right now. We are currently on LinkedIn. So you can check out the Coach Clee or the Clee Tillman page there. We're on Facebook under Clark Tent or Coach Clee. Make sure you subscribe to those pages. We are also on YouTube under the Coach Clee page, so make sure you subscribe to that. And we have the podcast going on Anchor, which will be uploaded by tomorrow morning. If you haven't already done so, whatever your pleasure is, make sure you subscribe to those pages, hit the like buttons, and share. All right. I'm your host, Coach Clee. Thank you for tuning in. I've been doing this for a little while now, for over 3 years, where we bring people to the platform and we discuss wonderful topics, current events, and we learn more about that individual. I am your host. I'm your content creator, your favorite baker, your book publishing, podcast hosting March 4ther. And I say that to say this because you see the website scrolling below, workwithclee.com. Not right now, but later. Make sure you check out that website. You see the Cash App right below as well. Make sure you send a donation, whether if it's 1 cent, $1 or more. Whatever you send goes directly to the proceeds of the show and better enhances the show. But on the website, we do have, and the reason I said March 4th is my first book that I wrote, March 4th, a motivational empowerment book on helping you find your own breakthrough. We talk about toxic people, toxic situations. Wonderful things are on that. That's on the website. You can check that out. The second book, No Shade, All Light, written by Clarence Stokes, Herb Thompson, Jason Brown, and myself wrote 25 of our favorite quotes and what they mean to us. So it's over 100 quotes with this book with meaning. You can definitely get wonderful nuggets of knowledge in this book. No Shade, All Light. My third book that I wrote came out during the pandemic last year around June. The hashtag grudge, where Les Brown says it best. Les Brown says holding on to a grudge like holding on to a hot piece of coal and expecting the person that you're angry with to feel the effects, when really you just need to let that thing go and start the healing process. And this is like a roadmap to starting that healing process. We also have the book that just came out this year, The Lab, which you're tuning into right now. This is a highlighting book of, we've had well over 150 guests on the show. 44 of them are highlighted in this book. There's 44 chapters discussing their business, product, or positive message. So this is a great book. This tells you about who's been in the lab, what businesses have been there. We're working on the lab part 2. So if you're looking to be a sponsor or you're looking to be in the lab part 2, just let me know. We will definitely get that done, where that's currently under the works right now. And these books are being published by your one and only One Way Publishing, which is produced by Tillman Productions, which is us. So we like to say we can bring a mere thought to a book that's bought. So if you ever wanted to write a book, let me know, because I can make that happen as well. If you ever don't know how to get what's in your brain formulated into a finished product, we can make that happen. So definitely inbox me, text me, get a hold of me. Got to give a shout out. Shayla's not here right now. I don't know. I hope everything's okay. She's not in doing Shayla's showcase, but so we do want to give a huge shout out to the YMCA, because they're one of our sponsors. I'll make sure that we get the information out there for the services they offer and the things that they are doing. And we also have Flavor 76, who's another sponsor of ours. If you haven't tasted this food already, is phenomenal. I know you guys have seen some of the commercials and some of the videos that we've done for them. You can't. It's second to none. We've had a lot of caterers, we had a lot of chefs, we had a lot of bakers on the show. He's also been on the show. Stevie Colson himself has been on the show, and his food's delicious. Here's a quick snippet on some of the things that he has.
Another delicious meal from Flavor 76. Make sure you check out their weekly lunch and dinner specials. They're on Facebook at Flavor 76.
Does that complete your order?
Make sure you tune in to Coach Clee with the Lab and check out the website with One Way Publishing. And again, make sure you guys check out Stevie Colston for that. Flavor 76. Again, his food is phenomenal. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you guys for tuning in. I know we're kind of a little out of sorts right now. We were supposed to go live yesterday. Please forgive me that we did not because of the Facebook outage. So because of that, we postponed and rescheduled till today. So we're bringing you a live updated broadcast show with our guest right now. Some of you know her, others of you don't. I've known her for a few years now. I consider her a friend of mine. I've watched her grow and become a lawyer for the judicial system, and now she's a candidate running for the Dauphin County Judge of Court of Common Pleas. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you Tasha C. Williams. Tasha, how are you?
Hello, Coach Clee. I am doing well. A bit tired, but I am well.
Good. Thank you. Give her some likes, give her some hearts, give her some thumbs up because she's donating some of her evening to be with us today. And Tasha, tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Sure. Well, as you stated, I am running to be your next judge on our Court of Common Pleas here in Dauphin County. I am originally from Washington, D.C., born and raised. I've been in Pennsylvania for the last over 20 years. And specifically in Harrisburg for the last 14 years. I am an attorney. I am currently a prosecutor for the county of York, but I do live right here in Dauphin County, right in Susquehanna Township. I've lived throughout the county. I've lived in the city of Harrisburg. I've lived in Swatera Township. Now I'm in Susquehanna. And I've worked in various areas of law. My passion is in criminal law. But I do have experience working as a judicial law clerk. I have experience working with our state legislature right here in the capital city of Harrisburg. I have experience working in Lehigh County in the public defender's office, Philadelphia County in their public defender's office. I've dabbled in a bit of administrative law at the Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission. And then I've also engaged in civil litigation. So I've have a lot of experience in the law, in the courtroom. But I've also worked with a lot of different people from all walks of life. I was a high school Spanish teacher at one point. I was a social worker, in a sense, helping provide services for infants and toddlers who were born with developmental delays. I've worked with our juveniles who are at risk. So I've done a lot over the past 20 years. So that's just a little bit about me and my background and my experience.
All right. Thank you. It sounds it's a wide array of different types, styles of things that you've done over the past years. Let's jump right into it. Give us a little bit on why you decided that you wanted to become a lawyer.
Well, my passion and interest in the law goes back about 20 years. And that's when I started helping people that I believe were wrongly convicted and sentenced to either life without parole or death here in Pennsylvania. And in helping them, I quickly learned that, they didn't have any money. Their families didn't have any money. And so I wanted to do what I could do to help them. So I sort of just advocated for them, showed up in court for them, helped them find witnesses and try to get their cases reopened on appeal. And part of that process included me reaching out to attorneys to try to convince them to take the cases on pro bono or for free.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was a very hard sell. I'm grateful for I am grateful for the attorneys who did agree to help out at either low cost or for free. But I said, you know what? I'm just going to go to law school, become an attorney, so that I can help these people. I'll figure out how I'll pay my bills later. But that was the impetus behind me beginning the law school application process.
Okay. Yes, and I know that itself is a struggle in itself. Just going through schooling to become a lawyer. Then after that, I know that you work for the county of York as a prosecutor. What is your success rate as a prosecutor thus far?
I am proud to say that it is 100%.
Okay.
So I have gotten guilty verdicts from juries for every case that I've taken to jury trial, which were serious felonies. I have gotten guilty findings of guilt for cases heard before a judge, or we call them bench trials. And that's in the adult system and the juvenile system. So I am very proud of that.
Well, congratulations. It's something to be very proud of. I don't know how often or how many people can actually say that.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. So during this process, why did you decide to become a candidate and start running for a common pleas judge?
Well, the common pleas bench is very important, as are the other benches. Each court in our Commonwealth plays a specific role. So the magisterial district court is, for the most part, the initial judicial authority, depending on the case. But at the court, and then the next level is the Court of Common Pleas, which is the race that I'm running. And that's a very important bench. The judges that sit on that bench decide a variety of cases, and it's the type of case that affects a person's everyday life, from whether to terminate a person's parental rights, adoption, divorce, alimony, child support, how to divvy up property when someone has passed away. And then, of course, all things criminal, from driving under a suspended license to homicide, child abuse, arson. So it's a very important court deciding very important matters. And that court takes testimony. Not every court in our Commonwealth actually takes testimony and hears witnesses. And so that's a very important role, because it's that trial court, which is the Court of Common Pleas, that makes certain credibility determinations. And they get to see and hear the witnesses and the evidence and assess the reliability of those witnesses and the evidence. And so it's very important. It's because it's at that level where wrongful convictions can occur. And so that's just an issue that's near and dear to my heart. And one of I don't want to say thrust, because, as a judge, we're not, it's not supposed to be political, but the process to become a judge is political. And so, but that is one of the items that's on my platform, and that is eliminating the incidence of wrongful convictions. So it's, one of the reasons why I did decide to run.
Okay. All right. It's such a wonderful reason. And like you stated before, it's such a much needed process. In the course of what you're doing, I know you said that you have a few events that are going to be coming down the pipeline as well. I believe October 16th, correct? Yeah, I believe there's an expungement clinic. Is that correct?
Yes. So I am, attempting to do everything possible to get out there in the community for people to become familiar with me. I'm not, born and raised in Dauphin County. And so there's still a lot of people who are not familiar with me. And so one of the ways I want to do that is by being of service, which, is not something that's new to me. But I am just trying to heighten my visibility. So while helping people all at the same time. So I am hosting an expungement clinic on Saturday, October the 16th from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. And that will take place at the Allison Hill Community Center. And that is located at 1524 Walnut Street in the city of Harrisburg. And so people can come and learn about the expungement process, what they need to do to apply for expungement of their criminal arrest record. There are some instances where certain convictions can be expunged or qualify for expungement. And then there's a limited access process by which certain convictions will only be accessible to certain agencies or certain people. And then we'll also have a speaker presenter on hand to talk about the commutation process in Pennsylvania and the pardons process. So it will be, and it's a free event. So I do encourage anyone who's interested to come on out and get some good information.
All right. And so anyone, like you said, is going to be at the Allison Hill Community Center from what time did you say again?
5 o'clock p.m. to 8 o'clock p.m.
On Walnut Street, exactly. And so you can learn about the pardon system, expungements, and things along those lines. If they had any other questions, the website's posted right beside your name. Would they be able to go to the website and get that same information as well?
Yes, but we're just going to make a quick little fix. It's LatashaForCountyJudge.com, and there will be more information there.
See, hold on. We're going to do that right now.
Yes, thank you.
Can we do that while we're live? Let me see. There we go. Hold on.
Awesome.
Bear with me here.
Of course. I hope Shayla is okay.
Yes, she is. She just came on not too long ago.
Oh, perfect.
Got tied up at practice. So, what can go wrong will go wrong. There we go. Pop.
It's all good. Oh, thank you. Perfect.
All right. Yes, absolutely. So, how important is it for people to for people to come out and vote? What's the general importance of that in itself?
I mean, it's just important because of the countless lives that were lost so that we could have this moment and the ability to freely exercise our right to vote. So that's first and foremost. This is a very important race. It is a historic race in that there have only ever been 2 women elected to the Court of Common Pleas in Dauphin County. We did have a 3rd woman who served by appointment. But in terms of being elected, it's been something very hard to accomplish here in the Commonwealth. And then there has never been a woman of color to serve on the bench in its 236-year history. And the reason why I point that out is because we look at the people who come in and out of the Dauphin County Courthouse at Front and Market Streets in the city of Harrisburg every day. And the bench, the judges who serve on the bench as a whole should reflect the community that it serves. And right now it simply does not do that. There is only 1 woman on the bench and 8 men. And we need balance. We need diversity, diverse experiences, diverse perspectives, and new and fresh perspectives. And so I am the change agent that I believe we need and that I believe that people are yearning for. When I talk to people, when I'm out in the community, people feel like they don't always get a fair shake when they step inside of a courtroom. They feel as though their fate is already decided. And that's criminal cases, family court cases. I hear all the time from men and women, but a lot of men that they felt that they've not had a fair shot in the family court situation. And so people will have a fair opportunity to be heard if I am elected. And so those are just some of the many reasons why I am asking for people to come out and vote on November the 2nd.
Okay. And I was just about to ask that. So November the 2nd is election day itself, for everyone to get out there and vote. What makes you the best candidate for people to want to go vote for or to actually run for this position?
Well, based on the experience that I laid out for those of you who are just now tuning in, I am an attorney, I am an advocate, I am an educator, and I have worked with so many people from all walks of life. And that experience, it's diversified. It makes me the more well-rounded candidate. I do have an opponent, and it's going to be a very close race, I believe. And again, I just feel that I am the people's judge, and it's not so much what I feel; it's what I am told. It's what people have said to me, and it's what they believe. And I'm just the better candidate. I've been, like I said, not just an attorney my adult life. That's just one profession that I have had. And again, I have worked with people, men, women, children, people incarcerated. I have been in over half of our Commonwealth state correctional institutions on the inside, not the outside, but have been on the inside, talking to staff, talking to people incarcerated. And I don't know that that's something that my opponent can say he has done. And so I am not afraid to get down in the dirt and, do the work. And so that is why I am the better choice.
I got you. I see Artie Goss is on. I see Jay Yoy's on. Floyd Stokes are all watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please tag, like, and share. And so I know that you discussed your history. I know you discussed what you're going for. What gives you the inspiration and motivation to keep moving forward and to continue? Because I know I see you daily, at least if not on some sort of social media platform, at events. You're busy, not only with where you're gainfully employed, but also at events. You're putting out signs. It seems like you're at everyone's event. What gives you the inspiration and motivation to keep moving forward? And how do you find the energy to continue to keep going to these events and keep making it just happen?
So one of my sister friends commented on something the other day. How many of you are there? And she's so crazy. I said just one, but I don't really know, honestly. I think one thing that is motivating is, so we have a very grass/ground roots effort here in terms of the work that we're doing, the bodies doing the work, and the money that we have to do the work. And so our money comes from family, friends, neighbors, supporters. And that money is used to make our literature, for instance, these cards with our information that we pass out to people. Yard signs are not cheap. I had no idea until I became a candidate. We have a billboard up on Cameron Street, not cheap. Gas to put in the car to run up and down all around, like it all adds up. So one of the things that motivates me is I do not take for granted the financial help that I have received from family, friends, neighbors, and supporters. And that's money that people could have spent to put money in their kids' mouth. And so I don't take any of that for granted. And so I owe it to those guys, to myself as well. but I owe it to any person that has donated a single red cent to our campaign to give it my very best. So,
Okay. And I know that that's a lot. And I know next month can't come fast enough, can it?
never can.
So let me ask you this. What if you could go back in time, okay, and you could sit down and have a 1 hour long conversation with a 10-year ago version of yourself? And in this conversation, what would you tell yourself? What kind of advice would you give to yourself?
I would tell myself to stay in Harrisburg, which is weird because I did stay in Harrisburg, but my 10/12-year-old 12-year ago person
Mhm.
was very adamant about leaving
Oh, yeah.
Harrisburg. Oh yeah, because I'm from Washington D.C.
Mhm.
and then I sort of like grew up and became an adult in Philadelphia.
Mhm.
So coming to Central Pennsylvania was a bit of a culture shock,
I bet.
and and I was ready to be on. Actually, I was on the first thing smoking. I went back to Philly as soon as I got here, but then that was, not the best decision because I had a job here, and so I was
Mhm.
commuting every day, and it was just not
It's
feasible.
not,
So
not
then I
correct.
came back, yeah, and I stayed, and I've been here ever since. And I really came to love Central Pennsylvania, Harrisburg,
Mhm.
Dauphin County, and so the fact that I'm here by choice, um, just shows my commitment to the people here. But that's just definitely one thing I would have said to myself back then is just be a bit more open-minded, give it time. A lot of times we want the rewards and the fruits of our labor immediately, and that's just not realistic.
Mhm.
Um, and so that's what I would tell myself.
All right. And then if we could flip the script a little bit, what if we have somebody who's watching a replay or someone who's watching you live right now? 12-year-old little boy or girl, okay? And they're looking at you and they never heard of you until today and they were like, "Wow, I want to grow up. I want to move from a big city to central Pennsylvania. I want to teach in schools a different language. I want to help people better their lives. I want to go ahead and grind and work hard and become a lawyer. And not only just stop there, I want to continue on and run for judge and hopefully make a difference in my community." What kind of advice would you give them?
Go for it. Because you literally, even though you and I just had this conversation, but anyway, can do whatever you put your mind to. And I do truly believe that. Like that was poured into me when I was a young person. And then I actually believed it. And
Uh-huh.
in believing it, I was able to achieve the things I wanted to achieve. But in doing so, I always had a mentor.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, my parents and family, of course, were instrumental, but finding someone who has accomplished the goals you want to accomplish is very important. So I
Hmm.
would advise that younger person to seek out a mentor. And, it's not always necessarily, a comfort zone. You got to step out of your comfort zone. But
Yo.
in this day and age with technology and Google, it's very easy to find someone who is in the line of work that you want to get into, and you just reach out. And oftentimes people are happy to give back,
Hmm.
um, and they will set aside time to, help. So that's what I would advise a younger person.
Okay. All right. See, learning more about you each and every interview. And ladies and gentlemen, she's no stranger to the show. She's been on back and you've been in the lab, former guest on the show back in its initial stages.
Yeah,
We had technical difficulty that day, but we still got
I
the point
remember.
across. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were discussing on I think you were still going through law school at the time, and now we're discussing you even elevating even more.
Yes.
Kudos to you. Kudos to you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So, how do you continue to challenge yourself? I know this is a challenge in itself. And what have you? Well, let me ask it this way: through this process that's still not over with yet, what have you learned about yourself, other people in the community?
I've learned a lot. I mean, just in terms of geography, I've been to places where I never thought I would go or have a reason to go, particularly the northern part of Dauphin County.
I saw
So
you.
I've traveled to Gratz and Likens and Millersburg and Berrysburg and Halifax. So that's been very interesting. And I went to the Gratz Fair just a couple of weekends ago, which I would have never gone. I mean, and not because it's Gratz, but just, I'm a city girl. Like I grew up in the city. So county fairs is like kind of new to me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, feeding animals and things like that. Like, so it's been different. And I would say that, again, you can really do anything you put your mind to. So with this being a judicial race, and specifically Court of Common Pleas, candidates running for a Court of Common Pleas judgeship have the ability to cross-file their nominating petitions, meaning I am a true Democrat. I am a registered Democrat, lifelong Democrat. But, and because of that, I had to seek 250 signatures on my nominating petition so that my name would appear on the ballot back in May for the May 18th primary. And we have a very short window in which to solicit those signatures. It's about 3 weeks, I believe. But I can also solicit signatures of Republicans who are registered to vote in Dauphin County so that I can appear on the Republican ballot. Because remember, in the primary election, a voter can only vote for their own party members. And so that's what I did. And there were a couple of people who told me that there was no way that I, as a registered Democrat, would successfully obtain 250 signatures of Republicans. And so in hearing that, I'm like, wait, what? Like, you're telling me something I'm not going to do? Okay. And I will tell you, it was not easy. It was extremely cold weather. And people were so kind. I remember there was a gentleman, I knocked on his door and he went in the house and got me hand warmers to stick into my gloves. People will offer me beverages. And this is like, middle of COVID. People would ask me to, step inside their home, into the foyer to get out of the cold and the elements. So, that was like something that I learned about myself, that something so hard is because it's intimidating, because, nobody wants to experience rejection, because there were times when I would knock on a person's door, they would ask me my party affiliation and I would try to get out of it. And I would, say, well, I'm running on both tickets, which I am. And for some people that was sufficient, but for some people who are hip to the cross-filing process, they would promptly say, that's not what I asked you. I asked you, what party do you belong to? And then I would say I was a Democrat. And then they take it off my porch, or no, I'm not signing it, and slam the door in my face. So that was something I learned about myself, that it was okay for that to happen, because it wasn't personal. How could it be personal? They don't even know me. And then I thought about the fact that there are people I know as registered Democrats who would do the exact same thing if a Republican knocked on their door. So just learning more about myself, my strengths, and my weaknesses, and how to overcome those weaknesses and fear of rejection and those sorts of things. So it's been a great process.
I believe it. Do you believe that it's made you stronger in this process as well?
Oh, absolutely. For so many reasons. Because I am, as you indicated earlier, I am still working full time.
Mhm.
And that is very challenging. During the winter when it's, we're gearing up for the primary election, there's no sunlight. Now that we're gearing up in the final days leading up to the general election, there's no sunlight, 5:30, like it's a wrap. So, yeah, I've definitely become stronger throughout the process.
And so hearing those no's and getting those rejections, instead of it holding you back and stopping you, it seems like it lit that internal fire inside of you to keep on
Mhm.
going. Or as like we like to say on the show, you kept marching forth, and you're still doing so right now because the torch is still lit and you're still moving forward. What's that fire feel like to those that haven't felt it in a long time or have never felt it?
What does my fire feel like?
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know that I've ever really asked anyone, but I think that it inspires them to want to get involved. Because one thing I do hear a lot, as we talked about earlier, is like, wow, you're everywhere. You're everywhere. And so I think that is an indication to people how serious I am. Um, and it, even my significant other, like, he talks about it all the time, how, like, what don't you do? Like, you're so inspirational. Um, so yeah, I just think it just, shows people what you can do, even when you think that there's a big mountain in front of you. So
Yeah. And I see Tim Tyndale's on, Darren Cotton. They're both watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you guys hit that like button, tag, like, and share, please. Thank you very much. And I know we talked about so many wonderful things and we learned a lot about you. But what can you impart with us that a certain book or a story or a person that has influenced you, like your life was going one direction and you read this book, or you had a situation happen to you, or you met this person that gave you a little bit of advice that changed the course of your life for the better, and what that situation was, or whatever that moment was, and what can you share with us?
um hmm. I was asked this question recently by someone, and well, it was a similar question, and they kind of framed it as who is someone that's not family, and it's not like a political or religious figure that I sort of see as a hero. And it took me a really long time to come up with an answer because of the parameters that he provided. But I actually gave him two names. One was the name of the judge that I used to clerk for in York County. And then the other person, he's someone that's like a brother to me. And he's someone who was wrongly convicted here in Dauphin County
Okay.
many years ago. And well, back in the 90s. And he served 16 years. He was sentenced to life without parole for a crime he
Mhm.
didn't commit.
Okay.
And when he was sentenced, he immediately began appealing his case. And so then finally, 16 years later, he was, well, the best way to put it is his sentence was reversed and he was released from prison. However, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania appealed that decision. So while he was released, it was conditional freedom, and it was pending the outcome of the appeal sought by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to the United States Supreme Court. And so after being home for 5 months, the United States Supreme Court made a decision reversing the lower court's ruling based on a technicality, and
Mhm.
he had to surrender and go back to prison after being free for 5 months and resume service of his life without parole sentence. And
Wow.
so as that, it was very heartbreaking. Like, I was devastated when that decision came down. However, um, at that time, he was receiving a lot of advice from people to get a plane ticket and be on the first thing smoking out of here. And he said, but I'm an innocent man. I'm not going to run. I'm going to go back to state prison and it's all going to work itself out because like truly the truth will set me free. And he did that. He and another friend who had also been wrongly convicted in another state, in the state of New York, drove back down to Harrisburg. They picked me up. We did a little bit of running around, sat down, had one last meal together. And then the three of us drove to SCI Camp Hill, which is the receiving prison. And he turned himself back in. And it was so like, I had a meltdown in the parking lot. It was just a mess. And he went back to state prison and he stayed there for another 5 years before the truth would come out. And it was Judge Clark who presided over the hearing where he was released. And so he's just like so awesome to me. His name is Lorenzo Johnson. And, you know, I think it takes a strong person to do that. And so that's just like the epitome of strength. And there are so many people, but I was recently, like I said, asked that question in an interview that I was in. And that was the one of two people who came to mind. So.
Okay. And such an inspiring story it is, because I know that story has to have a bunch of highs and lows. And like you said, you were devastated in the parking lot. So that just shows that things can be very hit rock bottom, but still have a positive outcome. And it shows how it's inspired you to continue to climb in our judicial system itself.
Thank you.
Yeah. I learned a lot from you. I knew you. Some of the things that we were going to discuss. I knew some of the backstory. I learned a lot. I enjoyed talking to you through the course of conversation. Is there anything that I forgot to ask, or is there anything that may have jogged your memory that you would like to share with us? Right now, the floor is yours.
No, I just, I'm just grateful for the opportunity to run. I'm grateful to the voters who elected me as their Democratic nominee to move forward to the general election, which takes place on November the 2nd. I do want to remind voters that October the 18th is the last day to register to vote. And then October the 26th is the last day to request a mail-in ballot. If you do not want to personally appear at your precinct on November 2nd, you can request a mail-in ballot, but you must do so by October the 26th. I ask for your vote, and I promise to do what is right, just, and fair at all times. It doesn't matter if I'm having a bad day. You will never know it. And I think that's really important to know that, you're going to walk into a courtroom where the judge's disposition is going to be consistent and you know what to expect. And, you don't have to walk on eggshells. And I'm someone that's going to always, and that's with not just litigants, but witnesses, police officers, lay witnesses, expert witnesses, anyone who would walk into my courtroom, like you're going to be treated with the utmost of dignity and respect. Whether you walk in wearing jeans or a suit or an orange jumpsuit, that's just how it's going to be. And I expect to be held accountable. And that's just the promise that I make to the voters and the citizens of Dauphin County. And so with that, I thank you for having me on the show, Coach Clee and Shayla. And it's always a pleasure and privilege to be here.
Absolutely. I thank you for coming back. I thank you for being on the show. Good luck next month, November 2nd, when everyone goes out to vote. I'm pretty sure you'll have a favorable decision. Keep doing what you're doing. I know it's very exhausting and can be very time consuming, but it's definitely worth it. And we all do appreciate you, and you inspire more people than you would even know. Absolutely.
Thank
I want to
you.
thank you for coming on the show. I say all the well. Here, let me get to it. I put on the put on, and I say that to say this: we have a short amount of time before the transition actually occurs. But if you've got a business product or positive message, and you're looking for a platform to get that information out on, inbox me, text me, get a hold of me, let me know. Just like Latasha did here, and we had this wonderful discussion, and we can learn a little bit more about whatever your business product or positive message is. I want everyone to evolve so hard, and I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you guys share. And Tasha, I'm coming right back. Tasha, I got a special guest coming to the lab later this week on Friday. You know who that guest is?
Is it my opponent?
No, it's not.
Oh, okay.
That's a good guess though. So you got another guess or no?
No, not off the top.
Well, you want to know who it is?
Of course.
You got to tune in and see. This Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay.
Tune into the
It's
lab with our
something I
next
was
special guest.
campaigning. I might not catch it live, but I will see it at some
Make
point
sure
for sure.
you check that replay out. I guarantee you'll like it. But I do have a gift for you, like I do everyone that comes on the show. For donating your time, I want to donate my token of appreciation to you because I do believe that time is worthy. To come on here, I find it not. I think glad you find it not robbery to have a conversation, to sit down in the lab and get information out there. So I will make sure I get this to you in a timely manner, and we
Thank you.
appreciate you. We hope that you have a wonderful night and good luck with everything. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's Coach Clee. You guys are in the lab. I am your content creator, your favorite Baker book publishing podcast hosting March 4th. And we want everyone to make sure you're safe. Make sure you continue to wash your hands. It's continually socially distance yourself because we got that fall and season coming up and that flu season coming. But make sure you guys are healthy. Tasha, good luck with everything.
Thank
Guys,
you so
we'll
much.
talk to you later. Talk to you guys later. Peace.